Hey, what's going on, guys? My name is Alex, and today I have a video with you guys that shares the two main ways to buy properties below market value. I'm a real estate investor. The reason I'm making these videos is to genuinely just kind of share with you the information that I have come to learn. Hopefully, you can use this information to, accelerate your own journey and learn from the all the times I've punched myself in the face or fallen down the stairs, all that sort of stuff. So, without further ado, let's get into it. All right. So, how to buy property below market value. And starting off with just why is this important in the first place? So, if you haven't really got into your investing career just yet, equity is extremely important for basically it's kind of like your safety net. So, if you have like literally zero equity in a property and um, you're kind of stuck, right? You can't really sell it because it costs money to sell. National average is about 9.8% to sell a property. And banks kind of look at you a little cross-eyed, they don't really want to lend money to you because your real estate isn't worth anything. So you can also, if you do have equity, you can leverage that to buy other properties. You can do a lot of stuff if you have equity. You can pull that out. You can get loans against your equity. So equity is extremely important. That's what I'm trying to say here. So equity is going to really help you. So the more time you take to ensure that you do get a good deal with equity, it's going to totally make the rest of this process 10 times easier. So I know you're probably, if you haven't got a property yet, you're probably super excited to just do a deal and you want to do everything and you're looking at all these different deals and like to make them make sense, you have to like close one eye and squint the other. Like don't don't do that. You definitely want to take your time, get a good deal that has equity, and returns is the second one. You also want to get a good deal. The deeper discount you can buy it, the higher your returns are going to be, and that's why we're doing this. We're investing money with the expectation of getting more money back. So the deeper discount you can buy property at, the higher your returns are going to be. And also, kind of what I was talking about here with the equity is the scalability of this whole thing. When you buy properties below market value, that's scalable. That's totally 100% scalable. You can continue to do that. You can repeat that process for sure. You could do the Burr method, like if you have equity in properties, you could refinance, pull that same equity out, use to buy another one, as long as you're buying properties at good deals. What's going to stop you from scaling is if you have, a couple properties that have literally zero equity, they're not really putting out any cash flow, they're bad deals, and you have to address those first before you can continue to grow. So, like I said, there's two main methods: on market, off market. We're going to talk about on market first. So, how do you buy deals below market value on market? This is really kind of a volume game, to be honest. Since these deals are on market, these are properties that 1,000 other people, 100 other people are already looking at. You need to just do the work, put in the volume, do the underwriting, and send the offers. Minimum 5 offers per day. And this isn't just like shooting a text message. This is like getting on the phone with the realtor, trying to build a little rapport with them, doing whatever you got to do and getting them to submit your offer. Another key point here is that don't even probably look at what they're asking. Like that is irrelevant to you. Like if they're asking $10 million or $100,000, it literally doesn't matter. It does not affect your numbers, what numbers work for you whatsoever. You need to be looking at the comparable sales. What else? What other properties that are the similar, size, age, condition, same neighborhood, what those properties are selling for. So that's going to be your comparable sales. And you also need to look at, depending on what you're going to do with the property, like if you're going to rent it, you need to be looking at what that property would rent for XYZ, and then generate your numbers off of that. What they're asking for, the list price, is literally totally irrelevant to your underwriting. So if you're underwriting, you punch in, you do all your underwriting, and this property would make sense for you to buy at $150,000 and the list price is $350,000, you still send the offer at $150,000. I know it's going to sound stupid and scary and like a waste of time, but it's not, I promise you. And then also getting into that mindset of, well, we're just too far off, and like killing the deal in your own head before you've ever even contacted anybody, the seller, the agent, anything like that. extremely bad habit, and you need to never, ever, ever, ever do that. Always send the offer. So then you're going to do this. You're going to be sending offers, sending offers, sending offers. You're going to be doing that a lot. Most people are going to ignore you, be like, not interested, quit wasting my time. But there's going to be a group of people who respond, and they're going to counter or they're going to do something. And those are basically the people that are raising their hand and be like, hey, I'm motivated. Like, let's figure out a deal together. And now we can take a deeper dive on that one and see if you can actually put a deal together. And then as you're doing this, you're calling agents every single day. You know, they have these listings. So maybe I should explain that a little bit better. Agent has a listing with a property that you would like to buy. You could get a buyer's agent and have them do this kind of work for you, but I don't like that model really at all. I think it adds an unnecessary layer of communication that creates even a worse game of telephone, that you have to talk to your buyer's agent, who then has to talk to the seller agent, who then has to talk to the seller, and then the seller responds, and it's like kind of a fucking nightmare. So as many of those steps as we can reduce, the better. So also another strategy or another advantage of just going straight to the listing agent is two things. One, you can offer that they can get both sides of the commission, so they're a little bit more motivated to work with you, to help you, to do your thing. And then also like these relationships. So that's the next point that you're building. You're going to be talking to a lot of agents. Even if the deal doesn't work out, the one that they have listed now, you're going to be building the relationship. You're going to be telling them what you're trying to do. Tell them about your track record. Tell them that they can, represent you. And if you flip it, they can list it on the back end, XYZ. So the next time they come across a distressed property, a lot of times they can send it straight to you instead of having to put it on the market and stuff like that. So as you're doing that, be building these relationships for sure, and do something to log these relationships, record them, make sure you're continuing to follow up. Don't just be like, yeah, I'll send each other a business card and then never talking. Like, don't do that. Put them in a list, email once in a while, text them once in a while, say what's up, tell them happy birthday, add them on Facebook, all sorts of stuff. Remind them that you're buying stuff. So you're building relationships with realtors, especially ones that target distressed properties, because those are going to be your bread and butter. Like I said, offer them to get both sides of the commission. Another key point that you could definitely do, maybe this is a little bit more advanced, but offer them, like, you don't have to just get 3 or 6% commission. Like, you could assign this deal to me. If, for example, the deal is a good deal for me at $120,000, sure, we could buy it and you could get 6% of that, or you could get the seller into contract for whatever they want. Let's say they only want $80,000 and it's a good deal for me at 120. I don't care if you make 40K on the deal. Like, it's still a good deal for me at 120. So you could kind of introduce them to that idea too. The pros of going on market here. So it's basically lower, no cost. You really just need like a cell phone, and maybe a free CRM. You could use Google Sheets. There's also tons of other free CRMs to kind of just keep track of these relationships and make sure you're following up with people. And then, like I said too, the relationships are huge. There's most of the agents you're going to talk to are going to be total dorks and useless and have a broken, horrible mindset and are terrible. But every once in a while, you're going to stumble across somebody who is an extremely valuable relationship, and you guys are both going to profit from that. So that is a huge pro of going that route. The cons is, yeah, you're kind of looking at the same deal that 100 or 1,000 or whatever other people are looking at. So it's kind of more of a needle in the haystack game. Just kind of go through the volume and do that. So that brings us to off-market real estate deals. So how do you get a deal off-market? This is a little bit, I say, easier probably to get a deal, because you're not competing with 1,000 other people who are looking at the same deal. The general process for getting an off-market deal is, first you need to generate a lead that is an off-market lead. Somebody raises their hand, says, yeah, I do want to sell my house, and it's not listed. And then essentially you call them up, you put a deal together, you close them. And you basically get them to sign an agreement. You guys are moving forward together. Sign a purchase and sale agreement. What does that lead generation process look like? So here I listed out just a couple of them. So the first thing you need to do, like I said, is you need to get leads, people that raise their hand, say, yes, I do want to sell my house and it's not listed. The ways to do that, here's the super common ones. So it's cold calling, cold texting, direct mail, paper lead. And just to give you guys a brief breakdown on each of those, cold calling, you get a list of potential properties or records that might have a reason to want to sell. You could use tons of free websites like PropWire. PropWire is probably going to be the best one that's free. And you essentially go in your area and you can select all the filters, and you can select like divorce or the XYZ filter that might have these group of people might have a reason to want to sell their property, or there might be a reason that um, the property's in distress or something like that. So that's what those filters are for. You can essentially pull that list of records for free, and then what you do is you skip trace them. And skip tracing is essentially just getting a phone number that's attached to that lead. So the record is going to have the name and the address, and then you can use the name and address to skip trace. A lot of websites can do that. I think PropWire also actually can skip trace it for pretty cheap. And then that can basically goes out to the internet, tries to find the phone number that's correctly, and brings it back. And then, so if you're going to cold call those leads, you would, if you want to do it the cheapest possible way, you pick up your cell phone and you start dialing. And that sucks, and that's super slow, and it's pretty miserable if you're going to do it that way. But that is how I got like my first 3 deals, so it's totally doable. If you want to accelerate that process, if you're smart, you'd probably buy a triple line dialer for like $100 a month, and then you'd crank through that data so much faster. And it just, if you respect your time at all, it'd probably skip to that step. And then if you want to take it to the next level, is you would hire like a virtual assistant for like $3 to $5 an hour, and they would cold call through that data for you. You give them a little script, and then they would basically get the lead, and then you would call the lead. You would just call the people who raised their hand and said, yes, I'm interested. Cold text, I'm going to put a little caveat here that this one is a slightly higher learning curve than the others, so just kind of be forewarned. I use REI Reply. I do cold texting, and you can check out the link in the description too. I've got one for REI Reply. If you do this route, take the onboarding seriously that they have, and it's like a little 1 hour meeting, and they talk you through everything. So there's just some things you need to know about the texting regulations and stuff like that. So that one is a little bit of a learning curve and what words you can use and stuff, but totally doable, totally legitimate strategy. But just know that that one is maybe a slightly higher learning curve. So keep that in mind. Direct mail, this one's very simple. You can either literally like handwrite letters to 1,000 people, but that would be slow and terrible. You can also just hire companies that like mail out lists, mail out rather like a little postcard saying, hey, like, have you ever thought about selling XYZ property? Like, if so, like, totally give me a call. You could write a little personalized note in there, tell them, your goal is to buy X properties to retire your wife. Make it personalized so to get people to have a higher response rate. But yeah, there's tons of companies that will do that direct mail. So you basically just pull a list, maybe off like a free website like PropWire, and then you can start mailing them direct mail. And you don't just send one letter. You need to send them a letter maybe every 6 weeks, do it 6 to 8 times probably, and then kind of give that list a break, and then maybe move on to another one. This one is a little bit more expensive. I want to say you could probably send a postcard for like 50 to 60 cents or so per postcard. But if you're mailing thousands of letters, that might add up a little bit. Another great one here is pay-per-lead services. So there are websites, like for example, the one I like the most is needtosellmyhousefast.com. So people who want to sell their house fast and they don't want to list it with an agent or whatever, they're searching websites like this, and they type in like needtosellmyhousefast.com, great, and then they enter their information on that website, and then that's like a lead. And then you can essentially buy that lead in your area. So this one's super, super good. Paper leads are known for being like much, much more motivated. To give you guys some rough numbers, like typically you can expect to do a deal if you're decent at closing with a paper lead between like 8 and 15 leads. While cold calling, that might be closer to like 1 in 40 leads, somewhere in there. So these paper lead people, they're much more motivated. Their timeline is much quicker, that sort of thing. So if somebody's literally going on a website called needtosellmyhousefast.com and entering their information, like These people are motivated. So so that's pretty huge. Another huge advantage too is it's super fast. Like you don't have to actually cold call through a list of data. You don't have to hire a VA. You don't have to learn about cold texting. You don't have to like wait for all the mailers to go out and then do that for like a couple months and then have people start calling you. Like this is like right now. You don't have to manage any people. The challenge here is that it might be a little expensive depending on what county you're going to target. I think Dubuque County is like $75 for a lead, and then but more expensive, more competitive counties can be like $300+, right? So it's going to depend a lot on where you're wanting to market and where you're wanting to buy properties, but the maths out though. So let's just assume it's it's $100 just to make math easy, and it takes 10 leads. So you're going to spend $1,000 on a lead to do a deal, but you're going to buy the property for much deeper than $1,000 below market value. So so the math makes sense for sure if you want to go that route. And like I said, I use needtosellmyhousefast.com for that. I also have a link in the description there if you want to check that one out. So that's lead generation. So step one is you need to start generating leads. And then step two is you need to develop some closing skills. And the more you do this, the better and better you'll get, the more comfortable you'll get talking to sellers. This is kind of what I've been doing like all day, every day for the last like 2 years or year and a half, or probably closer to two. Um, and this is essentially getting sellers to go with you, maybe even if you're not the highest offer. The key here, if I were to just boil everything down and try to just instill in you as quickly as possible in like 2 sentences how to do this, is you really do need to understand and solve a problem for them. So you need to basically identify what they're trying to accomplish and then position your offer to accomplish that. And then if that means like doing some extra stuff, whatever, helping with a moving company or organizing XYZ for them, or maybe it's a 1 week lease back, like just get as creative as you need to, and really reemphasize that you do fully understand their situation and that you guys want to work together to make it happen. So understand them, their situation, their problem, and then solve that problem. And that is, in a couple sentences, the best way I can explain to you how to get people to go with you, maybe even if you're not the highest offer. So the pros of going off market here is it's less competition. These people, instead of having 1,000 people look at their property, they might be talking to like, depending on how competitive you market, between 0 and 3 other people, roughly. So you're not competing against 100 other offers. You're just probably competing against a couple. And the competition sucks most of the time, too. It's like people who totally don't know what they're doing. So that's kind of nice. And you do get better deals, 100%. You get deeper discounts off market. Yes, you spend a little bit of money on the leads, but it translates to much, much deeper discounts. So that is definitely good. The cons, the disadvantages to going off market here is, lead generation and closing sellers, they do have a little bit of a learning curve. Like I said, it's not just like go to Zillow.com and then like start calling realtors. Not saying that doesn't have a learning curve with building that relationship with an agent, but it's a smaller learning curve than learning how to develop these relationships. Or it's a smaller learning curve than learning how to generate leads and close the leads. So not saying you can't do it, you totally can, but just know that like it's a slightly smaller or a slightly larger learning curve rather, but it's better deals, it's more profit, you make more money. So up to you on that one. So those are the two main ways how to buy property below market value, the two main routes, the two main what to do's. So I'll summarize it again. If you're going on market, you just volume game. You're calling agents at least 5 listings a day. You're building that relationship. You're telling them the number that would work for you, and do your best to build that relationship if they have other deals coming. Off market, you basically need to learn how to generate leads. Cold call, cold text, direct mail, paper lead, one of those. Pick one, doesn't matter which one. Each have their pluses and minuses. So you generate the leads, and then you close the leads. Pick up the phone, call them, figure out what the problem is, solve their problem. And that's essentially the two main ways to buy property below market value. And if you get good at this skill, the skill of real estate acquisitions, the world is your oyster. You're going to be the guy that has the good deals, and you can attract people that have money or want to buy the deals from you, or you can take the deals down yourself, or whatever, right? So that is why this skill is so powerful. You can leverage it 100 different ways, and really just use it to catapult your career. So I hope you guys did take something from this video, and if you wouldn't mind sharing this with a friend, dropping a like, it really helps more people find out about this, and really helps spread this information to somebody who it could help. And also, you guys, I'm a closer on a real estate acquisition team, and also am a landlord, and I'm wanting to buy more properties. So if you need help closing a deal, closing a seller, I'm the guy. You can let me know. DM me, drop a comment, do something, get a hold of me. I'll close your seller. We'll figure it out. We'll make it happen. And also, if you want to buy some property together, I love partnering with people, and let's take down some units together. So, catch you guys on the next one.